And then storage of passwords, you're going to want to make sure that your passwords are not stored in plain text. There is one exception where you can't really get away from it too much, which is when you use HTTP authentication with digest mode. Then it either has to be stored in plain text or you have to store, I think, the MD5 hash. And that's almost like storing it in plain text. So you don't want to, that's the only exception. Otherwise, just always store it as a hash, which then a hash we'll get to actually a little later in this presentation. So I'll talk about that. You know, remove or disable your default usernames, especially if you have test accounts. You know, username is test, account is 123. On your production server, you don't want to have that on there. So if you have anything like that, make sure you disable it or remove it. Always make sure you use SSL for logging in, especially on a high-value site. Obviously, a man in the middle can attack your site if it's not SSL, or can sniff passwords off the wire. So the best practice would be to use SSL. I know a lot of people don't, but it's not as secure, especially in an environment like this where we're all using the same Wi-Fi network. And in Lasso, to check if you're using SSL, you say that's just exactly what's up there on the screen. It's you have the server port equals 443, assuming that 443 is your secure socket layer port. Yeah.
Is it possible to make a Lasso admin SSL?
It is actually. SSL? It is. You can actually, for 8.5, you can force it through an Apache directive to always go through SSL. I have it enabled on mine. If you want, I can do it. I'm trying to remember. Someone actually, it didn't come from me. I think it was from Chris Wick.
Yeah.
And he was the one who actually. I'll dig it up for you though. Remind me afterwards during lunch, and I'll get the Apache directive. Forgotten password functionality. You don't want to store the password in the clear. If you ever forget your password and the site emails you your password in plain text, you don't want to use that site because it's terrible. It means they don't really understand security. And you definitely don't want to provide the password without some sort of authentication of who they are. Currently, the best sort of practice is to have a security question that then allows the email to be sent to your registered email address with some sort of, with a URL that then resets your password. Allows you to go in, it's a one-time authentication thing. You go into the site and then you're able to reset your password to something you do know.
I have to say that I've never ever remembered the security question. Not once.
Yeah, there's a big debate within the community about those security questions because a lot of the questions are weak in and of themselves because of social networking. So it might ask you, where were you born? And then you go to their Facebook page and it'll say, oh, I was born, here. And now someone can easily discern.
Palin.
Yeah.
What's happened to her?
Yes, Sarah Palin, yeah, that's what happened, exactly what happened to her. Her Yahoo email address was reset because someone knew all the information about her and was able to use that against the Yahoo's email. So you definitely want to use questions. Some sites will allow you to, what they've moved is allowing the customer to choose their own questions, like, something more obscure, like, what was my favorite food on January 1st, 1982, and something that only you would know that you're not going to post anywhere. But
I remember it when I write the question. I don't remember it when they ask me 6 months later.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
What was your secret question?
Yeah.
I have another problem. Most of the time they accept questions, but they have changed how they interpret the Swedish characters. From the question to the passwords, and they stored it incorrectly, and then when I type in the exact same thing, they compare it to ISO 88591 or something.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. So my questions never work against the answers anyway. So
I had a situation where it was like choose your favorite musical group, or what is your favorite musical group? Well, it's 2 words. It would not accept a space as an answer. How am I supposed to type in a 2-word musical group name?
Well, and one strategy that I've heard for users, even when they have insecure questions, is you pick one word to be your answer for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
no matter what the question is, it's always, you know, gumball, something like that.
Armadillo.
And then that way, an attacker can never guess it because it won't match to anything.
And it won't make any sense.
And it won't make any sense. Now, the only downside to that is typically those answers are not hash. Those answers are typically plain text. So if you log into some site and use gumball as your secret answer to everything, then someone who's an insider threat could actually see, oh, he answered gumball and try it. Oh, I'll try it. Let's see. He registered as, you know, this is his email address. I'll go try it as Gmail, try and reset his Gmail password and use gumball, and it might work. So then you get it, well, okay, as a user, should I then use different words for different sites? It all depends on your level of paranoia. And the last one down there typically is not popular with users because we can't remember passwords to different sites, especially use a different one for everyone, which is what we should do. But the best practice is that you don't allow them to have the site remember their password. And again, the reason is because with clickjacking, I don't want to get too much into the attack, but essentially what happens is you have this iframe with the site that you're attacking in an attacker's site, and it's hidden, so the person doesn't realize they're interacting with, you know, PayPal.com, and if the PayPal has remembered your username and password, it's pre-populated, they can trick you into clicking on the login button, and then trick you into clicking the transfer button, and then, you know, trick you into typing in, you know, their email address, and you won't even know because you think, you know, on the internet, you should search for clickjacking. There's this really great demonstration of it where it's a game where all you do is you click where, you know, it'll pop up something, you got to try and click on it. And so you think you're playing this game, but underneath, what it's actually doing is having you click on all the things you need to enable the video camera through Flash. Now, Adobe's corrected it since then, but what it basically would allow the site then to do is take pictures of you, and you wouldn't even know.
Don't surf news. Bill, could I actually ask kind of a practical question?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you've ever had this situation, but have you ever had a client who says, "Oh, we don't want to require our users to enter really long, difficult passwords because we don't want to make it harder for them. We don't want them to have to do password resets every time they forget their password and then have to log in." And you get these excuses from the clients who don't want to follow best practices. So,
Sure. And that goes back to, for every web application, you have to look at the risk versus the benefit of implementing security, right? So for them, they might find, because they probably are thinking of themselves, well, I don't want to have some long password that's something crazy that I won't remember. And if they do commit some long, crazy password to memory, a lot of times you can't take that and use it on every site because some sites don't allow you to use like
more than
symbols
8
or something.
characters,
You know,
yeah.
they're all slightly different. Or they might use it on every site because that's all they can remember is that one hard one. So yeah, it's you know, all you can do is educate, and you can say this is the liability you have for in case, you know, one of your users, say someone were to brute force open their account and make an order that's been fraudulent. I mean, what is their risk and liability in that? And I think it differs by country, but it might be they're on the hook for all that money that's fraudulently happened, especially because if it goes through a credit card, then, you know, and then the owner is going to reverse the charges and it's a big mess. So, and maybe they're happy just to do it that way until something bad happens, and then they're, you know,
yeah.
and then they'll, you know, maybe it only takes one fraudulent charge and then they'll change their tune.
So basically, educating them about the risks.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you can do.
And let them make the choice.
Yeah, I think that's all you can do. Or you mean, obviously you can put a line in the sand and say, well, I refuse to do that, it's just too insecure, but they may just simply go to another developer who will be more than happy to implement it in PHP. A whole other topic and lecture.